effort in art. The two different awards that I give are titled the Art Excellence Award and the Outstanding Art Student Award. The Art Excellence Award is awarded to students that show great effort and go beyond my expectations in the art room. These students demonstrate their skills and work on their art daily. They also demonstrate a good attitude and encourage others in art. The students that received this award are Dylan Babb, Carly Gennebacher, Lori Ruiz, and Riley Ferraro. Please come up, Carly, Lori, and Riley. Ferraro. While these students make their way to the stage, I'd like to explain why I chose these 4 students. Dylan Babb is always there for me when I need help in the classroom. He loves the art room and is always encourages others in the art room. If I stay after school, Dylan is always there creating or lending a hand. Carly Gennebacher, which is first here, is also receiving this award. She is always going above and beyond in her work. If you have not seen her huge origami cardinal yet, it is a must-see out in the foyer. She definitely is not afraid to take risks. Also receiving this award is Lori Ruiz, which is the last student here, and Riley Ferraro, which is in the middle. Lori did the amazing 6-canvas acrylic painting of a tree that won first place in mineral area and also won first place in our art show. This young lady is also not afraid of going big with her art. She constantly is creating during her own free time. Riley Ferraro is another student that is constantly creating. I gave Riley a sketchbook at the beginning of the year, and she's always filling it with her very own creations. I love that Riley produces originality in her work. Please join me in applauding these excellent art students. The Outstanding Art Student Award is a much harder award to win. I only give out 2 of these awards each year. This award goes to students that are constantly creating. They not only do it in their free time, but demonstrate excellence in the art room. The works of these students demonstrate what it means to be an artist. Their work is constantly commended by their peers and their teachers. Riley Thomas and Sarah Longworth, please come up on stage to be recognized. Riley also won first at Mineral Area Art Show with her amazing origami of the volleyball. You'll see that in the foyer. She won Best of Show with it tonight. Riley works tirelessly on her art, and you can tell this if you look at her volleyball. Anyone that views it knows how much time she took to create that work of art. She also created a doodle art piece, and believe it or not, the work is also another volleyball. I encourage students to put themselves in their work, and Riley is an amazing volleyball player and artist. Last, but definitely not least, is Sarah Longworth. She created a huge origami book and the doodle, which is also a doodle art, which also is a book. She defines herself through, you guessed it, reading. Sarah's efforts went way beyond all expectations. She was asked to be an advanced star, but however, her schedule conflicted with that class. Sarah, nevertheless, did all the advanced art projects on her own time during study hall or at home. So, Sarah?
So I start all my classes off with this, and I guess it's a good time to start with this concert off with this as well. Howdy! There we go, all right. And I don't know why I say howdy. I'm from South County, so I don't know. Maybe I decided to call it Southern County. Anyway, so the first thing I want to announce is that all of your students' grades in band are wrong. So those students who are currently grounded are now, I never heard of, over there, so that's good. The reason why your students' grades are on is because I enter in participation points so that they are due at the very end of the semester. Those do not get reflected in the term grades. So, and participation points are a massive majority of your students' grades. So students, if you are grounded for your grades, tell your students to check, or your students, tell your parents to check online. And they will, you're welcome. And they will surely see that you are doing far better than the 19% that it's in. So, yeah, just double check that. Sorry, parents, no fun grounding. They can still be church anyway. The next thing I want to talk about is the fact that the bond issue passed. And we are super excited about that. What that means for us is not only new art facilities at the middle school, which are very desperately needed, but also new middle school band facilities as well. So the current middle school band room will then become the choir room, and we will build a brand new band room off the other end of the building that will allow a huge garage door so that the maintenance guys, whenever they have to bring all of this over here, won't have to, go through the hallways and take out door stops. And it'll just be up, out, and down. We'll also actually have sound acoustics so that I won't be deaf in 30 years. So yeah, awesome. We have lots of technological advances that are in store with that, so we're very happy that that passed. And thank you if you went out and voted for that. We really appreciate that.
I just wanted to say some of the changes in the art room. Right now, our kiln that we fire ceramics is in our storage room, which is kind of get a little warm there sometimes. So we're going to have a room just for the kiln where it's properly ventilated and it's not going to be so hot. And the room is going to be bigger to house those huge projects that you're seeing out there. So I thank you for going out and voting for the new art room and the new band room. Thank you so much.
And on with the show. This is the Farmington Middle School beginning band. You clap for them in just a second. I appreciate your support. Thank you very much. They're like, yeah, beginning band, that was us. Okay, so these students, this class actually started out at 25. We have 10. Let me tell you why we're down to 10 is because accountability scares people. And these in band, I make sure that from day one I say, look, you're going to need to practice. You're going to need to pay attention. You're going to need to work hard. Cool. Do good. Okay. Stay calm. See you later. So they go into other classes, maybe beats and stuff. So all of these students that you see up here have outstanding characters simply for the fact that they are still here, to be honest, because that speaks very highly of them. They started playing their instruments back in around October, I think. I tried looking that up and I couldn't figure it out, but I'm going to say October. And like I said, it started with 25, and we're down to these awesome students you see behind me. And we got to where we progressed very far through our textbook that we use. Somebody hold it up. We call it the Red Book, and if you can't figure out why, you need to go back to beginning something and figure it out. But yeah, it's called the Red Book, and it starts out from the very beginning of, here's what end you blow in, here's where your fingers go, here's what your ear does, or your mouths do, and it just helps them out, and it just really starts from the very beginning. So actually, you're going to get to see that process tonight, because they're going to start out early line, and we're going to kind of skip a few, and they're going to play another line for you. But the students are actually going to, before each line, come up here and tell you what they learned about each line, and some of the challenges, and even some things to listen for. These were all written by me, so don't blame the bad jokes on them. It's all my fault, and I do apologize. Performance of those will begin band.
We work on sustaining notes and getting a good tone by using our air and rolling our mouths. Getting a good tone is most important part of playing an instrument. This one is called higher ground.
Next, we work on changing notes. Our fingers took some time to get used to this. We had to train our muscles to play an instrument, just like we had to train our hands to write back in elementary school. This song is called Cool.
One of the hardest things about playing an instrument is playing when you're supposed to and not playing when you're not supposed to. This is called resting. Although you can't relax and stop thinking. Go Tell on Karate reinforces the concept of resting.
The frog song teaches us how to slur elements. This means they're connected using our air. It gives songs a more relaxed feeling.
This is my favorite one. Long note challenges are I'm just gonna lift this up, are a super fun thing to do in band. Olivia and Dakota are always disadvantaged because their instruments use the most air to play. Yes, the flute uses a lot of air to play. Get your watches ready to see how long we can sustain our sound. Are there any nurses in the audience just in case? No, you don't count. Maybe? Okay. All the students are raising their hand. I don't think you know what a nurse is. Here we go.
Nelson and Johnny Cash. The tune has 3 beats per measure instead of 4, and it feels like dance music. See if this makes you want to dance.
Playing music that is familiar for us helps to learn the music quicker because we know it already. This is a theme from the gallery of Nutcracker. It is meant to be played lightly with the gallery band.
This song rocks. We will be playing this one for your jazz time. Our group process is tonight to make one music. This one will get your numbers.
The next song we will be playing is the Banana Boat song. It is a Jamaican folk song that was in the movie Beetlejuice.
Hopefully you learned something from that. We're going to go ahead and have a scene change. We're going to get set up for the 7th grade band. So y'all go ahead and get your horns out. Get your cases. Yeah. Get your cases out. South County, man. Thank you. Give us about 5-10 minutes until we get here. Middle School 7th grade band. Alright, so that one's called Fanfare and Fireworks, and you probably heard that in the sound. By the way, I know that I wasn't able to print off enough programs. Hopefully the bond issue also allows us to do copiers at the middle school, right, Dr. Winslow? Because, man, they're a mess. Anyway, I'll print some off for the students, and they can, bring them home to you, because we know that happens. Anyway, that was Fanfare and Fireworks, a very exciting piece, as you probably heard, lots of different bam, and out of left field, there's a bunch of nowhere happening. A lot of instruments kind of fighting each other with their sounds. That's pretty cool. And that one features all three instrument groups, brass, woodwind, and percussion. This next one you're going to hear is called Early American Portrait, and it features three very popular early tunes that were popular in America. Those are Amazing Grace, a hymn song named Chester, and another tune called My Country 'Tis of Thee. So you will, even though you may not recognize the name Chester, you will probably recognize the melody. And that'll be played by the flute section to start. So give it up for the flute section. Early American Portrait. you're in for a treat with this next one. This next tune is called Katie's Bassa. It is a percussion ensemble. So we're leaving out the people who play out of tune, right, percussionists? Yeah. So classes at the middle school are divided into 3 sections: brass, woodwind, and percussion, which is awesome because there are plenty of things that are different and difficult about each of those instruments. So the percussion has its own challenges, brass has its own challenges, and woodwind has 1.5 million challenges. So it's really nice to be able to separate so I can focus on that, because God knows tuba players don't want to sit through flute lessons, because that doesn't happen, right, tubas? Yeah, okay, thank you, Trevor. So we're going to get set up for this one. It's called Katie's Bassa, so give us just a second. By the way, I forgot to mention the tall kid. His name's Will, and he's not a 7th grader. He's actually a high school student. Hold on. His name is Will Fletcher. In fact, he sang earlier tonight in the baccalaureate service, and then he ran over here in his nice looking duds, and is here to play with him. But he is actually what's called an A+ tutor. So he gets tutoring hours for coming over every other day and working with the percussion class. So I'll take one kid who's struggling with their part and put him in the office, and next thing you know, Will comes out with them and they're playing their part perfectly. I'm like, wow, Will, you're something else. So he does a great job with these kids. He relates to them very well, and they think he's pretty hilarious because he can be quiet, but when he speaks, it's the best thing you've ever heard. So let's give Will another round of applause for filling in for us. I'm gonna get out of the way. Katie's Bassa. right, so if that was South America, we're going to Japan next, so it's free travel, so you're welcome. So we're going to Japan next, and this next tune is called Japanese Festival Dance. The score came with this whole thing about how I'm supposed to integrate social studies in the classroom, which was a great idea to integrate, but it was like, okay, you got 3 weeks, you're going to just watch a bunch of videos of Japanese dances and stuff. I'm like, concert coming up on that, so I think we're going to do it coming up here. But anyway, it's about this certain Japanese festival called Bon Odori. It's kind of like Halloween for us. It's a way to remember those who have passed on. And 2 Japanese traditional instruments that show up in this one are the taiko drum and the flute. And the taiko drum is the really big ones that they play, really animated. Yeah, and they're wearing like headbands and stuff. So you're welcome. That's the taiko drum. And then the flutes also have a lot of LEs in this one as well. So percussion, we got a lot back there. Good? Yes? Okay, good. Tyler's with that, thank you. So here we go. Japanese festival dance. So, yet again, free travel back to America now with one of the earliest forms of American pop music, and that's the march. Believe it or not, at one point in time, people liked listening to marches like John Philip Sousa, like these kids like listening to... See, I'm not hip, I don't know this stuff. Sure, whatever they just said. Yeah, so, just the new cool thing, that was it. It was John Philip Sousa with his mustache. So the march was the original form of pop music in America, and yet again, this one features the percussion section. It's called rudimental regiment. A rudiment is something that is deemed difficult in a percussion instrument that shows up a lot in their music. There's lots of different things. There's flames. Tyler, play a flam for me. Do it again. You'll hear 2 little hits. Do a flam. Can you play a paradiddle? Can you just play 40 notes in a row? You can play the same thing as a paradiddle now. Yeah, so a paradiddle is like, you use right, left, right, right, left. It's really confusing. They have to, be smart to be percussionists. We're working on it, parents. So anyway, they've gotten a lot better throughout the percussion class, and yet again, it's an important thing to have. So this is the last tune we're going to play, and I want to thank you guys very much for your support this year. These kids have grown a lot through having a tough time at Lincoln last year because of the scheduling was just really rough. Not having band every day really affects students. And in fact, the middle school is the only building that we do get band every day. And it's a blessing because I don't know where we'd be without it. So I appreciate our administration very much for letting us have that. So this kids have made a lot of progress, and I hope you're proud of them because I know that I am. Aw, you're supposed to say aw. They get it. Okay, here we go. Do a mental rhythm. Substitution time. 8th grade band. new group at the high school called Black Knight TV, and a long time ago you may remember that they used to put different things on Channel 20, local things. Now, with technology, they can put it on YouTube and have live streaming, so I'm on the internet live. You guys don't pick your nose. You're live on the internet, okay? So, for instance, like my mom had surgery today and couldn't be down, so she is somewhere in some hospital watching online. So, thank you very much for making that happen. I really appreciate that. Let's give them a round of applause for Figures and Technology. So really quickly, this song is called Awake the Iron, and if you're wondering why, I'll tell you why. Desperta Ferro, or Awake the Iron, was the battle cry of medieval Spanish soldiers called the Moldavars, and yes, I practiced that. In the dim light of dawn, as they prepared for battle, these fierce soldiers would hit their swords on rocks, shouting, Awake the Iron. So you can just imagine you're like a soldier in a tent, and you just woke up, next thing you know, you hear about you angry old Spanish guys hitting their swords on rocks over the hill, and it's like sparking up, and it's pretty cool. So here it is, Awake the Iron. I want to show you the break drums, because we used to do this. So Noah, raise up the break drums so that people can see. Show them the break drum. Yeah, it's from a car, and we're going to hit it with a hammer, and that's our sword on a rock. I figured that was a safer alternative, right? Yes? Okay, good. So if that was Spanish soldiers awakening people up who they're about to kill, this is a Russian church hymn. That's how we do things here. This Russian church hymn is called "Salvation is Created." It was originally written by Pavel Chesterkov back in the 1800s, and this was actually the last piece of music that was written before there was some kind of war where the Russian government actually limited Russian composers of music so that they could only write nationalistic tunes. They could only write things that brought glory to Mother Russia or something like that. So I'm glad that this got out because this has been, it's actually, like I said, originally a Russian choral anthem. The lyrics are, "Salvation is created, hallelujah." That's the lyrics, that's the whole thing. You're welcome. The first half of the song is just the choirs singing "Salvation is Created," and it'll start off with woodwinds. Then there will be a little bit of a break, and then the brass will pick it back up, and that's when the words become hallelujah. So that's the only lyrics in the whole song. And it's done quite beautifully, and in fact, we really get them using dynamics in here to play this one. So this one is "Salvation is Created." bring out a cardboard box and everybody gets nervous, don't worry. It's okay. So I want to talk about what this band accomplished this year. Part of being in an 8th grade band is that they go on lots of trips to compete against other bands and to compete to kind of get a rating. At this point in their career, it's okay to kind of receive some criticism constructively through these means. You know, we don't want to have it happen too early. It may, affect them and make them think they aren't good. They don't get a good rating, but these guys know how good they are. And they know how hard they've worked at their stuff, so it's okay. We took them to Union, and they received an excellent rating of a 2. So, and we also took them to Six Flags, and where they also received an excellent rating of a 2. And they should be commended for that. So please applaud them. And here's my little short spiel on trophies, and I promise I can go for 50 minutes, but I won't. In my opinion, trophies were started by Swiffer before they even created the duster. They thought, you know what? Let's create a duster where there's nothing to dust. How about we make a trophy? So they started handing these out years later. Oh, sorry, is your trophy dusty? We have just the thing for you. That's my opinion. That's what I think of trophies, is that they're just dust collectors. Ratings in music and art are in some form necessary, but as compared to sports where ratings, even scores, is all you get, that's basically how you assess yourself in sports. I feel like in art and music, they're mostly meaningless. Sports do it for competition, and music and art are for creation's sake, collaboration with others, community, and character building. And these kids definitely get a 1 in all those other categories, so that's how I feel about that. Dust collectors. This next piece is called Bryce Canyon Overture. Sometimes composers get motivated by a sound or by a sight to compose something. I assume that Jerry Williams was at Bryce Canyon National Park, which is beautiful. But other than that, I don't think this piece has anything to do with Bryce Canyon. So you're welcome to imagine just kind of what the different sounds that you hear as maybe a jagged rock or something like that. You're welcome to interpret that as you are. Bryce Canyon Overture. remind you that if you're an art student and you did not already take your art home, you should, because then her and I have to, and that's a lot of work. So take your stuff home and put it on your fridge. If it doesn't put it on your fridge, buy a bigger fridge. So the next thing I have to do is awards, and I like doing this. This is only my second year teaching in general. This is my second year, of course, at Farmington. And so I was trying to come up with some good awards, because I have nothing better to do when I go to try to sleep. So the first award that I came up with was called the Tradition and Progress Award. When I came down to Farmington initially for my job interview, you can't help but miss the 5 water towers in this town of 10,000 people, which I don't know anything about water towers, but I just feel like that's overkill. So anyway, and the first one, as you can hear, is it says Tradition and Progress, and it's so important. It says it on both sides. It's got a big tree in the middle. I'm like, wow, that's cool. And I started thinking about what that means. Is like in a smaller town, there's a lot of traditions. You go down to the shop, you see the same guy every day, you get the same kind of soda, you see the same kind of people in the same kind of places. But at the same time, Farmington is definitely progressing and advancing and bringing in new businesses and bringing in lots of people, and it's growing. And I'm glad to be a part of that. So I like that tagline really kind of struck a chord with me, all pun intended. And so I wanted to give an award based on that year's deadline. So as it relates to band, Tradition and Progress, this band program in Farmington is very, very traditionally strong, thanks to the work of Don McClard and then eventually Kurt Gottke and Linda Hook for the past 30 years. And so my job is not to build anything, but simply to not tear it down. And that's a pretty good position to be in, to be honest. So these 2 students in the 8th grade band, I feel have done the best job out of anybody in the band of continuing success in the middle school band program by playing the heck out of their instruments. These 2 individuals are the only ones who play their instruments, and yet they need to be the loudest and the most important ones. So I really appreciate the hard work of Paige Turley and Drew Lynch. The next award I have is called the I Love Band Award, and that's in all capitals with an exclamation point. And I give this award, I kind of thought of this award because there are 2 students in particular that come into the band room every single day with the stupidest, biggest grins on their face, just cannot wait to get started in the band. Why are we warming up? Why do kids not get here any earlier? I want to play. And that's awesome, that's what you want. So these 2 kids have probably the best attitude of anybody in the band. And yet again, it happens to be a boring girl. This goes to Alyssa Massey and Brad McIntyre. The next award I want to give is called the Director's Award. It's an award given for outstanding musicianship. So just in general, who is the best musician in the band, the best 2 musicians in this case. Both of these students go above and beyond in their practicing, and I can tell because they warm up in class with these crazy, exquisite tunes I've never heard, like different rock and roll tunes or things that you hear on Guitar Hero or on the radio and stuff. And I'll show them a new cool gadget that I get, and they go, "Oh, cool, where'd you get that from?" "Oh, I got it from Marlowe's Music Makers." "Oh, how much was it?" "It was like $10. "Okay, cool." Next day they got it. So these 2 students are, in my opinion, some of the best musicians in the group, simply because of hard work, because they want to be, and because they love band, yet again, and they work at it. So this goes to Nick Goodson and Noah Youngie. Nick's nickname is in jazz band is Nick, not a chick Goodson. And I'm not able to figure out why. By the way, he did come up with that, so I can't take any credit. He came up for that. The last award, and you may have heard your kids correct and grown about these new pillars and the character 8 classes and all this junk they have to do really stupid and sit and talk about their feelings. But the middle school has begun a new character program over the summer, some of the teachers in the building developed what they call the pillars of integrity. Just, things like respect, and honesty, humility, empathy, accountability, things like that. And I have seen a pretty good change in a large majority of the population. There's still going to be those boombots running around the school, running amok, because that's just the way middle school is. But I can definitely tell that a majority of students have been greatly affected by this program, and just the fact that teachers talk about it is a great deal. So I have an award called the Pillars Award, as if the Pillars of Integrity. And these two awards go to two students who have done an awesome job throughout the entire year, throughout my entire existence of knowing them, of showing great character and showing all of these different qualities. And they're just, in general, great people who just come to class every day and do an awesome job. And that's Maggie Burcham and Willie Standiford. So I know it's kind of been a long concert, so I'm going to stop talking. But I do think that I think that these students definitely deserve a little bit of licks. So there's a little fun. And if you know anybody who works at Licks, I think I need to be compensated for the fact that I say that at every concert. So just let them know and tell them when you go over, you get the Farmington Middle School band director sent them, and maybe I'll get a discount. Thank you all very much for coming out. This is March to Castle Rock.
We love your son, and maybe you and I need to get together for coffee sometime and have a little chat about some things. So maybe first thing would be how to run a coffee machine. That may be our first. I guess they don't teach that at Mizzou, huh? Mr. Gates, they do teach that at Kansas, I'm just saying. And we also learn how to put grades in a grade book too. Okay, I have three young gentlemen that have some very special words for you. Would the three of you please come up and introduce yourselves? There's your four of you. So, I guess we can't have
So, just wanted to take a moment of your time to say this. I want to thank Mr. Days. He's not just an ordinary teacher. He's extraordinary. I mean, he cares, listens, he's hilarious. But it's the fact that he takes so much of his time for us that's great.
And I know I speak for the entire band when I say he makes learning fun and challenging. He gives us different experiences so that we can see music and not just hear it. He makes each of us feel special and challenges our potential. And he has been a mentor for me and many others.
He has gone above and beyond both years that encourages us and helps us every day to strive to be great people with good position. He is the latest.
And to all the seventh graders going into eighth grade, make sure you put away chairs and stand and helps with this amazing thing you can. They will come back to the 10th grade. Thank you for everything.
Thanks again for coming out. Have a good night.